points and an argument for why you should have a plate carrier. And we both believe you should have both, but I figured we'd have a quick discussion on the pros and cons of each.
So you go in and buy real things with the fake money. Don't be bragging on the fake money. And then you put the real stuff in your corporation as assets. Now, I know, and anybody else knows who understands this, know you can sell that company for 3, 6, or 9 times the value of whatever assets you have. So if you got $1 million, you can sell that company, or it's worth $3 million, $6 million, or $9 million. So if you tell me I got money, cash, I'm like,
when you would
if you
use
say
one of these.
I have assets,
so I think the first thing you should do is kind of address when you might want to grab one of these. I think for people like us, it would be during civil unrest. Wouldn't you agree?
For sure, yeah, no doubt. It's definitely kind of the topic that we're talking about, or the scenario when we talk about all this stuff that we've got on the table here. I'm certainly not going to put armor on unless I think I'm going to get shot at, and I'm definitely not going to put a chest rig on unless, you know, I need not only at least 4 mags of rifle ammo, but also all the other supplementary equipment that I want to have on that chest rig. So definitely that kind of bad time scenario is when we're going to end up grabbing these types of kit, and there are definitely times when I would rather have a plate carrier, and there are definitely times when I'd rather have a chest rig.
Yeah, and I think kind of referring back to a video I posted, you know, maybe a week or 2 ago now about home defense, context really matters. So knowing your situation and the environment that you live in and what your day-to-day looks like might determine which one makes more sense for you to get first, at least, right? So if you're living in the mountains, I think a chest rig might be your better bet because you have a lot of elevation you have to climb, and if you had to start moving on foot, I've been in a plate carrier for 16 plus hours, and it's not a lot of fun to have all that weight on your shoulders. But when you have a chest rig that has an H harness that has some load-bearing attributes, it makes wearing something like this for a long period of time a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, you sacrifice something to get something, right? I mean, there's no decisions, there's only trade-offs. So you might be sacrificing a little bit of protection, but you're gaining that speed. And speed can most certainly be security. So if I'm going to be in a more rural zone, and I live in that kind of area, there's big wide open spaces, there's mountains, there's places where it's going to be really difficult to get on foot, I definitely want to chest rig. No doubt about it, unless I'm maybe in a vehicle. You know, if I'm maybe infilling to somewhere and we already know where, you know, this area of operation is going to be, I might throw a plate carrier on for that situation, but for the most part, for those rural places, I'm going to want a chest rig, no doubt.
Before we continue, I want to thank a few sponsors that make content like this possible. Most people spend a lot of their time researching plate carriers and chest rigs, then soon realize that's only one part of the entire equation. All of the other accessories that actually make your setup functional can add up fast, and that's one of the reasons why I've enjoyed working with Modern Warriors. If you aren't aware, Modern Warriors is a physical retailer in Tennessee and in Utah, and they carry a really solid selection of defensive tools, optics, accessories, lights, and many other brands that we all know and trust. But what I appreciate the most is that their staff actually knows the products that they're selling. I love supporting companies that focus on education, customer experience, and long-term relationships over just quick transactions. And Modern Warriors does just that. So if you're looking for some new gear or equipment, make sure you check out Modern Warriors. And if you use discount code Cowboy, you can save 10% on select items. One thing that doesn't get talked about enough when it comes to gear is comfort. The last thing you want is your clothing restricting your movement. And that's one of the reasons why I've continued to wear barbell apparel. And if you followed the channel for any length of time, you've probably heard me talk about their covert pants. And right now, Barbell Apparel has the covert pants on sale for just $99. And if you use my code Concrete Cowboy, you'll also get a free top with any purchase over $99. So if you've been looking to upgrade your wardrobe with clothing that's comfortable enough for everyday life, make sure you check them out and use the link and code down below. Alright, let's get back to the video. So let's just start off with, you know, the chest rig, talk about the pros and cons of that. So I think for me, the biggest pro is, like I said, it distributes weight a lot better than I think a PC does. Now, there are plate carriers that have load-bearing equipment. Like my plate carrier does have this Tigris type material inside that does take a lot of that weight off your shoulders. But the chest rig, I mean, you can really load this thing up and you don't feel like you're wearing 16 pounds of weight. So I have in my chest rig 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mags, right? As well as canteen, I have fire starter, I have a way to communicate with people, my comms. I have some first aid in here. Back here, I have water purification, and then up front, I have other admin stuff like headlamps and just other things that can help me sustain myself for a longer period of time. And all of that is coming in. I want to say this is
where's your business located?
It's definitely
How much do your business need? How many
one plate can be 8 pounds depending on what brand you go with.
for sure.
So for me, the biggest pro is just having all of that and not having to feel that weight. Another pro that I think is really good is, like I said, sustainment. It is a lot easier to put everything you need to be self-sufficient on a chest rig than it is a plate shirt. Oh my God.
I got something
Right out of the
Two squirrels just fell out of the tree.
Are there any other pros you can think of for getting a chest rig?
Yeah, so I mean, like, you're talking about kind of what you can do with a chest rig that it's kind of hard to do or just adds more with a plate carrier. Is all of the sustainment stuff that you have on your chest rig, when you try to put that on a plate carrier, you're also adding that onto the plate. So you're adding more weight. It's going to be more cumbersome. You're going to reduce the amount of miles that you can go, the effectiveness that you're going to be if you have to do, movement drills or anything where you are moving from point to point, in some type of gunfight. It's going to be way more taxing with that plate carrier than it ever would be with the chest rig. Not to mention that wearing a rucksack or any kind of backpack with a chest rig is just, I mean, so much different. I mean, just having that space down low to be able to put that waist strap on your ruck, being able to access it if you're using something like a back panel. I mean, there's just a ton of good advantages to having a chest rig that a plate carrier either can't do or it just becomes way more taxing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Having a pack paired with a chest rig is just like, it's ideal for travel.
This is a big thing, so we probably going to go into rucksack and let's see that.
To get some rucking hours in, because it's a lot easier to wear a backpack like that on something like this, as opposed to this where I have a zip-on backpack that's more team-oriented. So this, yes, you can have team support gear on it, but at the same time, you can have all the things that you need to be self-sufficient. I think another really cool thing about chest rigs is that, depending on, if you get a chest rig first and end up getting a plate carrier, well, now you kind of already have a placard. I'm starting to see a lot of people take their H harnesses off because these are just attached with these, I forgot what these buttons are called. And you take these off and then you can just clip that in to your plate carrier. Now, is it ideal? Is it the best way to do it? Probably not, but at least you have a way to keep something mainstream. So instead of having to sit up here, if you just wanted to get the plate bags with the clips and your plates, you could at least throw this on here. And I know Dirty Civilian, they've actually used the H harness with their plate carriers, but I don't know how well that works.
I have not done it with the way that they've done it, where they have the backpack that has the Swift clip on and they put the chest rig into it, but I have done it with my other plate carrier that I have when I had it more of a kind of low-vis setup. It has Swift clips, and I think this one doesn't. But some of them have just like a webbing up here that you can attach Swift clips to, that you can put that chest rig on. It definitely does work, and if you're looking for a setup that kind of gives you the biggest bang for your buck, I definitely think that's the best way to go. If you're kind of limited on a budget, you want both, I would say get more of a low-vis plate carrier that has Swift clips or can accept them, and then just put on your chest rig onto that plate carrier, and now you kind of have both that you can scale up or scale down depending on what you want to do.
Yeah. And now, speaking of scale up and scale down, I want to go into the first con of chest rigs, and it's that I have a TAPS rig and it does have Molly on it, but typically when you get a chest rig, it's already sewn together. There is no scaling up or scaling down. You get what you get. Like, you buy it and that's what you usually get.
Especially with mine, it originally was the Mayflower rig, but this is, I think now by Velocity Systems. I think it's their Gen 4, I want to say the name is, but all the pouches right here are all sewed on. So exactly what you buy is exactly what you get. Now that might be a pro or a con, depending on how you feel about it. Yeah, it might be a con,
I mean, it's a pro that, like, if you get what you actually want, right, and that's great. But if you want to switch something up, or there's one thing you don't like about it, and you do, I mean, your stuff, you can't really do anything.
How much did you pay for specifically the TAPS?
It's like $30.
Okay, so you got it pretty cheap. Now that makes sense if you're going to get that and then add on pouches and stuff on there. You'll keep the cost pretty low.
You keep it lower, but you're still going to be spending a good bit. I thought it was going to be significantly lower, but when I look at other chest rigs that are 115 to like 180 bucks, I was getting close to that after I added everything myself and modifying it myself. I got up over $100, so.
Yeah, and I think mine was like 200 bucks, I think.
Yeah.
It came with obviously the nice harness and everything on it, but you are limited to kind of what you get on that one.
Yeah, do you think of any other? I will say another. I mean, again, it depends on your chest rig. I know for me it's a little bit more difficult, but running it with a belt usually doesn't work out. But I do see people running chest rigs with a belt, and it does work for them. I think it also comes down to your body type. My torso is a little bit shorter, so if I have a taps rig, which is meant to, it's a chest rig, but it hangs a little bit lower, I start interfering with my mags, or my mags on my belt and my gun. So I typically don't run a belt when I'm running a chest rig.
You want to have it adjusted also, so where it's not, up in your neck, but it's not so low that you can use that waist strap on your rucksack. So it's kind of that middle zone where it's not going to be too difficult to pull a mag out of it. So
I mean, the rule is you want the H harness to be in the small of your back. I think a lot of people, they look at these and they literally think, hey, this is supposed to be a chest rig, and they hike it up all the way up here. And then now the weight is actually going into the shoulder straps as opposed to the small of your back. And that's the whole point of the chest rig, is to make it so like your whole back is holding up the weight as opposed to just your shoulders and your traps. So you can do it for a long period of time.
And I really like mine for hunting. Honestly, when I go out deer hunting and I go out in the mountains and stuff like that, I bring my chest rig and I bring a pack, but I don't always have the pack on me. I'll either leave it at camp or sometimes go to a spot, my first spot of the day, drop a pack, mark it on my map or on my phone, and then I'll just run the chest rig, do some scouting, and it's super lightweight, not cumbersome at all. I take a couple extra mags on myself. I've got, water purification. I've got comms if I have somebody else with me. I've got a headlamp if it gets dark out there, and they're great. I mean, if you use them right in the right sense, I think they're a great option.
Yeah, and I think, for emergencies, I think this is the way to go. I mean, you're able to grab it and just head out. But, there are still some pros and cons and ways to argue for getting a plate carrier. So I want to move over to the plate carrier. What are some pros you think people will benefit from getting a plate carrier over a chest rig?
I think the majority of people probably live in either the suburbs or some type of city, right?
People around them.
Those type of areas are you're definitely going to have a lot more potential for crime, a lot more potential for some type of mercenary type group. If things really got bad, the breakdown of maybe law enforcement, stuff like that. And I think armor is just, in my opinion, going to be your best bet. Having some sort of protection on your body that's going to be able to stop threats that are going to be closer is going to be a lot more important in my view than having something that's maybe a little bit more agile. Now, I really like, and I brought this out just to kind of show the differences between plate carrier setups. Just something like this slick plate carrier. This has no mags on it, literally just an elastic cummerbund, nothing at all on it, but just plates in it, and it's pretty light. You put it on, I mean, you barely even notice. You saw me in the video shooting with a backpack on. It's really not bad at all. Shouldering your rifle isn't bad at all. I have shooter plates in here, so it makes it a little bit easier to get that stock in there. But I think this is a good blend of kind of the mobility aspect of it while still giving you that armor and that protection. And you can still keep all your stuff in your backpack if you wanted to. You can put this underneath clothing, depending on the time of year. Maybe the t-shirt probably wouldn't hide this super well, depending on your body type. But if you have a jacket, rain jacket, something like that is going to be able to conceal that, and you're going to be able to go about your business depending on the severity of the environment that you're in, and maybe not scream, I'm super tactical, I've got this super over set up. So that's why I think that this plate carrier like this is going to be a better first buy.
It's very versatile,
in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, what I have over here is what you would call tactical. It's got everything on it. I'm not going to go through.
Now we'll see if you
want
want
to
to
see a
take
video of a plate carrier setup for both of us. He has other carriers as well. Maybe we'll put that together. You guys let us know down below. But yeah, this one's more of kind of like a fighting room. I have this set up to be working with a team. So like you and a couple of other friends. For sure. I have my comm set up. I have it routed very poorly right now, but I'm working on it. I have things that interface with my helmet. This is more of like I'm in a very, very bad situation. Person, but I do think this
nothing. You see anything in that
if I'm being honest, I think all of this has a place. We're not saying saying choose one or the other. We're just talking about where each one makes sense and why you might want to
Totally smooth.
if it were me, I would go with a chest rig first. Then I
Something to do with that server.
that's going to have more use if something were to pop off and you're out.
We got contact, boys, contact. Lock and load, lock and load.
Society just crumbles.
Now you go
And you're like,
online.
hey, you know what? I'm going to get some of my friends, get my family. We're going to try to build our own homestead. We're going to try to hunker down and wait till things get better. Yeah, so a pro is ballistic protection, right? Of course, it's the most obvious thing. That's why you get a plate carrier. You're going to be able
This
to
is not a drill.
Now, there are some nuances that come with that. There's different plates, there are different weights, and it's going to hurt. But at least you have protection for your vitals. I'm not saying if you get hit in the leg, and you're just going to survive. Because,
We have an angry guy on the team. He's dead. I didn't even watch out both of them.
but at least the things
Grenade.
aren't going to get punctured right away.
Keeps you in the fight.
Keeps you in the fight.
Both of them focus all units. Contact,
You can
contact.
scale up and down. So unlike the chest rig where it's sewn in,
Show me your hand.
I have, this is a Frankenstein build. I have so many companies.
One down, one down, one down.
Carrier, and it's because
I got one down. Reload, engage, reload.
I don't want to say they're standardized, but they're very compatible with different pieces of equipment from different companies. So if you want to make this a full
He was
battle,
making
you can
contact.
do so. If you want to, I can turn this into a slick rig as well. I can do that. If I want to have stuff on the side, like side armor, or like you actually do a radio, I can do that. Or if I want to run it slick on the sides, I can do that. As well as on the back, I'm not going to turn this around because it's going to fall over if I do. You can run it slick and then have a backpack that you can take on and off, or you can have a pack like I do that's attached to the carrier, and I can have team essential equipment that my teammates can go in and use on a.
That's the key with the back panels, right? Because I have a back panel on my other carrier too, which has the triple flashbang pouches on the top. But there's no way I'm going to be able to get that. So if you're there by yourself, it just doesn't make sense, to have a back panel on. You would be much better off having just a backpack that you can flip around and get access to things that you need to.
Yeah, and it's a pretty tough conversation to have. We just wanted to make this video because we thought it'd be a cool topic to try to tackle. But now that I'm actually thinking about it, I'm like, man, there are so many nuances that come with all of this stuff. I feel like when I go to a plate carrier, I'm going on the offensive, but really it's defensive because it has the plates.
We'll be
At the
online.
same time, I feel like I'm being more defensive in a chest rig because I'm able to elude and try to travel further distances. But at the same time, it's like I have no protection. So is that really defensive? It's a really hard topic to tackle.
Most definitely. I think, in my opinion, with the bigger loadouts on plate carriers, I almost think that, at least for me and what I would like to use them for, it seemed more applicable for kind of a night operation. So let's say the world's gone to crap and we're running out of supplies and we have to go in and we need to grab some stuff from one of the local grocery stores or a Walmart or a department store or something like that, but it's super sketchy getting there. We definitely don't want to do it in the daytime where it's super visible, so we want to be able to do it when it's dark and we can maybe move a little bit more quietly. To me, that makes sense. Like, I'm going to put that on. It's going to be dark out. I really don't care about being seen because if you're a threat to me, then it's not going to be, we're either going to fight or you're going to run away. Like, you're going to have to pick one. So that's where that really makes sense to me as far as like a practical standpoint. But I do think this is important to have. And plate carrier is also something that we didn't mention is they're great for physical fitness. Getting a low-vis plate carrier, putting that on and doing your workouts, doing circuits, sprints, all kinds of stuff like that, just has, just a plethora of benefits. You can't really get that with a chest rig. I mean, it's a light setup for a reason. So, you can get a lot out of this. Maybe it has less practical uses, or at least maybe the big one, but there's definitely benefits you can get from it,
And regardless of which one you decide to go with, you do have to keep in mind that none of this will matter if you're not training. I know this stuff is cool. Letty and I are really training, and we know videos in in regards to going over gear and stuff like that. But a lot of our stuff is conceptual in the training aspect. Training is just because you have a plate carrier does not mean you are a tier 1.
One down.
I'm not a tier 1 operator, but I do train with and without the plate carrier on. I also train with and without the chest rig on. And those skills will take you much further than any, pouch or radio or cummerbund. Like, none of that will really make a difference unless you're training. So, again, get all this stuff. We're super cool with you guys buying the cool stuff, the cool gear, but make sure you're getting out there and training. And then make sure you're training, I like to say 80-20. I say 80% of the time you should be training with just a belt and just getting good fundamentals in. And then 20% of the time, maybe 90%, put this stuff on, because I don't wear this enough to where shouldering my rifle is getting consistent. So I can deal with the chest rig. I'm just having trouble with the plate carrier, and that's just a training problem. So I need to train more with this to make sure I know exactly how it's going to be a little bit different than when I'm training without it.
And my training days look a lot different when I have plate carriers or chest rigs on than when I do without, because we're training kind of two different skills there, right? We're training just the shooting. We're isolating just that shooting aspect of it when we're training slick, when we're training with just our belts on. And then when we put all the gear on, we are training how do I move with all of this stuff on me? How does my weapon system interact with all of the gear that I have on me? I'm usually doing more movement stuff. I'm doing shooting on the move, position to position stuff, shooting off of barricades, kneeling, stuff like that, because that actually matters when you have all this gear. That's what you should be training. And a lot of stuff you can do in dry fire, shouldering that rifle with the plate carrier on, it is different. It's not totally different. Shooting with a plate carrier on isn't a huge difference, but a lot of that stuff can be done in dry fire.
Yeah, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We just wanted to put something together for you guys because we were already out here getting ready to train and stuff like that. So, yeah, that is our take on chest rigs versus plate carriers. If you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you check out Letty's account or Letty's channel, Barrel and Bolt. And then if you guys enjoy what I do, stick around, check out what we got going on. But that's all I have for you guys today. As always, I'll catch you guys in the next one.
That's the second level. Get yourself $125. $125 that you will get stock certificates. You can give these out to investors, and there's companies like the Boiler Room, they call them boutiques now, that will raise the money for you. So you talk about government cheese, Section 8. Stop playing.
You are danger close to an
If you're scared, do you know fear?
Don't
understand. People walk into a dark room, but guess what? When your lights are turned out in your house, are you scared? No, that's because you know your house.
They're coming inside, other side.
House and the lights is off. You kind of nervous. So understanding removes all fear.
This was right. Take cover.
So I'm trying to make you understand. Stop playing. Understand that is your inheritance. Go get the money.
We got Helio on top of it.
Okay, right in. So how do we get the money? Number one, credit. Get your credit together. I explained that.
We got Helio on top of it.
Number two, go in, get your corporation. The C Corp is meant for getting money. That's what they've been hiding from you. It's a special purpose entity. Look that up. It's made for getting money. Now, let's look at the C Corp real quick. A C Corp is a person. Everything you have is...
Keep your head down.
So right here is a good standing letter.
One down, reload.
Law enforcement, your ID or whatever, they say, hey, you're in good standing, you have warrants or whatever. Good standing letter. It's a person. Over here, you have a birth certificate. Well, these are articles of incorporation. Articles. It's not that hard to understand. So everything it has, it says, this is who we are, what we
All the stairs, they're on the stairwell.
abide by all the rules that apply to
One
us.
down.
Make every shot count.
And that's his birth certificate. And then you have
Sit
something
down.
called
One,
EIN number. That's for taxes, like you have a social. For government things. So you go in and say, look, I'm going to apply online with my EIN to get my EIN number, and that's 5 minutes. It's just 5 minutes. Apply online. Now, what I want you to know is, whenever you're looking at a corporation is
All right, I'm on my way.
but you should never name a corporation anything specific. Write this down. The problem is that you don't understand the data points. So when you name your company ABC Trucking,
Contact.
you're not going to get the money. So the first problem is I'm an LLC. That means liability. Who's going to give you some money? You talk about your limited. The next problem you have is naming your company a bad SIC code. Write that down. SIC code. A bad SIC code. What does a SIC code mean? A SIC code is an identifier. So like you have a trucking company that's in the transportation industry. So the bank will look at your SIC code, SIC code, and they will say, what do you do? Well, I'm a trucker. So that could be, for instance, 56452. 56452, SIC code means trucker. In the transportation industry, they say, what's the industry? Well, that means, 65721, 65721 in the transportation industry, for instance. So you have to know those proper SIC codes that they like and ones that they don't like. They don't like trucking. It's dangerous. They don't like construction. It's dangerous. So I want you to go on Google and I want you to look up SIC codes that banks like and SIC codes that banks don't like. And don't pick the ones they don't like. How about that? Now you have the proper SIC codes. These are data points. Nobody's teaching you data points. Banking. You have to appease the underwriter, not yourself. You want the money. You're not trying to do business. Make sense? So, what you do is you go in, get the proper SIC code. If you have an LLC, down in data points, right? Because they don't like LLCs. They like what? C corporation. Number two, if you ever have a home address, then guess what? Down in SIC codes, because your home address is your poor cousin living on your couch. You gotta have the real office. When you shut the door, walk in and sit down in the file cabinet, and you have a lease, a real office. Not one that you get your mail, not a virtual, but a real office. Okay.
Now I'm trying to shake this motherfucker.
These are things that are
I'm trying to shake
that's why you
it.
don't get the money. The next thing is, I just showed you articles of incorporation. You know one thing they never teach you on the internet? Because they don't know. They're not bankers. Right? When you see your good standing letter, in your good standing letter, you have something that is right here. It's a date on your good standing letter. A date. When you look at that date, before you start to try to get money from the bank, if that date is not 6 months young, if it's older than 6 months, you need to call the state and say, please send me an updated good standing letter. Because if you're older than 6 months, you're not going to get the money. You're going to get baby money because they realize you're a rookie. They don't know if you're in good standing or not. Over 6 months, anything could happen in 6 months. So that's something that people screw up on. Next thing that people screw up on, they go get their credit done through that FTC affidavit. Remember, I told you about that earlier. Now, once they get their credit done, they forget to go back in and opt back in to the bureaus. If you opt out, stay opt out, because you opt yourself out so they have nothing to check, then guess what? The bank can't find you. So, no money. The next thing, you know what a lot of people forget to do when they fix their credit or they're working on their credit? They forget to go back in and remove all fraud alerts and credit freezes. You need to call them and say, please remove all fraud alerts and credit freezes. Because they do that when you're working on your credit to protect you from anybody doing anything on your file. So if you don't take that, remove that, and if you call them, you say, I would like you to remove it. When you call, they say, okay. Call them back the next day. Say, I would like to know, do I have any fraud or any of that? Remove the fraud alerts. Okay, and the credit freezes, and they say, it's still there, say, please remove it. You need to call 3 times to make sure that it is removed. Call back when it's, oh, yes, it is removed. Now you're good.
And yes, pre-orders are now underway. They have gone live in New Zealand. We did find out that the PlayStation is going to be having enhanced features. That is now because alongside the Super
rookie down in data points. If you walk in with a name that means something, down more in data points.